Hi, my name is Jam, and welcome to another Bishoujo action figure review. Today we're looking at Snail Studios' Assassin 1/12 action figure. She released in June 2023 for around 14,000 yen, which is about $100 US. Snail Studios has been making figures for a while now, and this is my second figure from them. I was very impressed by their Tapigal Milk T Girl, and it made me into a fan. You can check out my review of Milk T Girl by clicking the link on the screen or in the description below. Assassin comes in a windowless box with different photos on all sides. The front of the box features Assassin with her robotic head, with her human face in the background. In fact, it seems there's a focus on her robot head, with most of the photos on the box showing her in that form. Only the left and right sides of the box show her prominently in human form. And there's nothing wrong with that. Her robot form is pretty original and eye-catching, and it definitely separates this figure from other Bishoujo action figures. The contents of the box are stored in 3 layers of plastic trays, and it's quite efficiently packed, especially considering the large base of the figure stand. Moving on to the figure itself, let's take a look at that robotic head first. As you can see, its anatomy is quite animalistic with its long head and neck. While the head doesn't resemble one specific animal, its shaping reminds me of a dog, a deer, or even a dolphin. It's both ambiguous but also somehow familiar. The sleek white covering gives it a very futuristic look, similar to the technology in the Portal video games. The segmented neck has these flaps that are reminiscent of feathers, and there's a soft goods cover that can be removed if you want an even more mechanical look. If you prefer your female bodies to be more human than robot, a great human head sculpt is included, and I really love the sculpting on this. The face is just perfect to me, capturing a classic anime face that looks good from any angle. Her bangs are a bit messy and uneven, but are very sharply defined, while the hair in back is pulled back into a ponytail that's offset to the right side of her head. The ponytail is also very sharply sculpted, which is always something I love to see. You get 2 faceplates, one with a determined look that is useful for most situations, and one with a more worried expression that can be used to show a softer side to the character. Both faceplates feature movable eyes to further enhance these expressions. It would have been nice to have at least one more faceplate with a different emotion, but these are adequate. Assassin's body has a futuristic look, and it very much looks like a plug suit, and I can't help but think of Neon Genesis Evangelion because of the details around the neck and the plugs at the shoulders. Assassin's plug suit does have its own cool details though, like the armor on the forearms, which have this cool layered look. She's also got these wings at her hips, which is an interesting detail. I also like these armor plates at her spine, which also helps create a smooth transition from the robotic head to the body. She also has an alternate hip piece, which has a robotic tail attached to give her an even more animalistic feel. I also want to talk about the shaping of her body. Snail has proven to be very good at sculpting the female form, and Assassin is no exception. The sculpting of her chest, for instance, feels very unique. Yes, it's still very idealized, but I like how the shaping is much more naturalistic and unrestrained. The transition from her rear end to her thighs is also handled pretty well. She does suffer a bit from double butt syndrome, where part of her rear is also part of her leg sculpt, but it's not as obvious here, and I think it's because they've minimized the gap between her hips and her legs, and maybe the uniform gray color is helping as well. In any case, Assassin is another amazingly sculpted snail shell figure. Now let's take a look at Assassin's articulation. Starting with the robot head, there's a ball joint connecting the head to this bar that's connected to the segmented neck. The bottom of the bar is hinged, but it doesn't swivel. The neck is composed of 4 segments, and each one has a ball joint allowing tilting in almost all directions. The neck cannot be pushed back, however, due to the sculpted details stopping it from doing so. While I love these feathery details at the back of the neck, I do think that the added motion to be able to tilt the neck back would have been very beneficial, especially when you're posing assassin on all fours. Despite that nitpick, I still find this neck articulation to be stunning, and I was really wowed by it when I first experienced it after unboxing the figure. Assassin's human head has a ball hinge for her ponytail, allowing it to rotate and hinge outward. Her head is connected to her neck by a ball joint, but there is a surprising lack of motion here. You can tilt her head down a bit, but there's not much room to tilt her head up or to the sides. The base of her neck attaches to her body via a small ball joint, and this allows her to look up and tilt her head to the sides, but only slightly. I think they really should have allowed more motion when the head connects to the neck, but I think they decided not to since it would have probably made her back hairline look really weird. The shoulders are connected to the torso using a ball joint, allowing you to lower or raise her shoulders ever so slightly. You can of course rotate the arms because of these ball joints, and there's a hinge allowing the arms to swing outward. There's a bicep swivel just below the shoulders, and you can rotate them a full 360 degrees, but it does get a little tight because of the varying thickness of the shoulders and biceps. Elbows are double hinged, allowing for an excellent range of motion. Love that. Wrists are hinged and can swivel above and below the joint, but the hand armor does hinder the range of motion when pushing the hands back like this. The upper torso is connected to the abdomen by a dumbbell joint, allowing for tilting in all directions. There is a bit of a gap to allow for this range of motion, but since it's on a dumbbell joint, you can adjust the upper torso to minimize the gap. The abdomen is separate from the hips, and there is a bit of ab crunch, but that's about it. Her back has these nodules for attaching her grappling hook gun and knife, which hinders her range of motion, so that's slightly disappointing, but her upper torso mostly makes up for that with its excellent range of motion. One of the marketing points for this figure is that it has an all-new hip joint design. Assassin's legs are attached to the hips via ball joints, and if you remove the legs, you can see that the joints are more complicated than just simple ball joints. The legs are connected to these little arms that can swivel forward and back and tilt in all directions, since they're connected to the abdomen using ball joints. As for range of motion, her legs can spread this far, but by manipulating them a bit, she can do the splits. You can also get her to kick this high utilizing that internal swivel, but it could leave a massive gap. This is another benefit to her complex hip articulation, basically giving her the flexibility of a seamless body, at least at the hips. It's pretty cool, and I hope to see this technique being used on their figures from here on out. Assassin has thigh swivels, and her knees are double jointed and can bend back this far. Her ankles are ball hinged, and her feet can hinge back this far, creating this nice line, and they can hinge forward this far, but the design of her feet does keep it from going further. Of course, the ankle joint also facilitates ankle tilting, but I always find ankle tilts a bit awkward when the feet have high heels like Assassin does, since the extreme angle of the feet affect the effectiveness of the ankle tilt. In this situation, using the hinge of the joint is more effective than the swivel point. Despite a few nitpicks, Assassin is one of the most flexible action figures I've seen in a while, and her segmented neck and her advanced hip articulation are definitely highlights. Besides her 2 faceplates, which we've already talked about, Assassin comes with 4 pairs of hands: relaxed open hands that are more posed, gripping hands, and closed fists. I really like these posed open hands. They're good for posing her on all fours, or other situations where the relaxed open hands don't quite work. Naturally, the gripping hands are good for holding the included dagger, which seems to be her primary weapon, so I'm guessing she likes to go for silent kills. The dagger is nicely sculpted and has some interesting curves, giving it a unique look. It's possible it can electrify or stun enemies, as there appears to be red wiring in the hilt. The sheath also has some red wiring, further supporting this theory. The sheath doesn't cover the whole blade, but it's nice that there's a place to store the blade when not in use. The sheath can attach to the back of Assassin via this small ball joint after removing this small plug from her back. Assassin also comes with a grappling hook gun that looks really cool and it's quite large. They could have easily gone the Batman route and made a smaller grappling hook gun, but I do like the direction they went in, as the gun looks very imposing and impressive and more realistic. I really like the shaping of the barrel and the drum, which no doubt is the reel for the grapple hook cable. The whole look reminds me of a World War II MG42, and you could even say the cable reel is reminiscent of a World War II Lewis gun. Referencing real-world weapons is a great way to ground fictional weapons and make them more believable. The grappling gun attaches to Assassin via this arm, which has 3 points of articulation, a ball joint where it attaches to the gun, another ball joint at the elbow of the arm, and it attaches to Assassin's back using another ball joint. This allows swiveling and some tilting at each articulation point. One thing I noticed on my copy when I was comparing it to the official stock photos was that the arm was attached the wrong way. In other words, the side that should attach to the gun was on the other end for attaching to Assassin's back. You can actually switch it around easily, and it does change the way the gun can be posed, so be sure to check the arm on your grapple gun and try the arm in both configurations to see which one you prefer. It should be noted that the instructions show it with the detailed part of the arm attached to Assassin's back. However, in the stock photos and in the included artwork, the more detailed part is connected to the gun. There are 3 grappling hooks and a length of black wire to supplement the grapple gun. One hook can be inserted in the gun when it's not in use. The other 2 are for when the hook has already been shot out of the gun. One with the hooks in the closed position, and one with the hooks in their extended position to grapple onto things. The black wire can be attached to these 2 hooks on one end, and then to the gun on the other to simulate the cable. Since it's a wire, you could suspend the hook in midair as if it's just been shot, or coil it around something so Assassin could get to higher ground. The wire measures about 12 inches long. To help display Assassin, you get a deluxe figure stand. Snail does sell this stand separately, but after experiencing the disappointing foot stand that came with Milk T Girl, I am so happy that they included this stand with Assassin. The large black rectangular base has 5 panels on its surface. Removing these panels reveals storage space for various accessories. You can easily fit all the extra hands, the extra faceplate, the dagger and sheath, and the grappling hook gun and its hooks and wire. Unfortunately, you can't store the alternate head or alternate hip piece, as the storage space is just not deep enough. A clear articulated arm can attach to the large hole, and it comes with a claw attachment for holding the figure. The claw actually seems a little too big for this figure, but I guess it's better to be too big than to be too little. If you don't like the claw, you can remove it and peg the arm into Assassin's back after you remove this little plate from her back. You also get a tool for adjusting the movable eyes, and this is exactly like the one that came with Milk T Girl. It does the job fine, but maybe the end that you hold should be flat instead of a ball so you can twist it easier. Being made of metal would also help, as sometimes I feel like it can flex a bit too much if the tension in the eye is too tight. If you happen to break the tool, you needn't worry too much, as an extra tool is included, along with 2 extra wrist joints. These are packed with the instructions, which are mostly in Chinese and Japanese, with a bit of English here and there. They do a good job of showing all the features of the figure and how everything works, though I do think they should have shown the extra range of motion that the new hip joints are capable of. There are 2 last things in the box. You get a mini poster of Assassin with other Snail releases advertised on the back, and that's a thing Snail seems to do. At least they did the same thing with Tapigal Milk Tea. Finally, there is a bonus illustration, which will only be in the first production run of the figure. It depicts Assassin in her beast mode, and it looks pretty cool. Paintwork on Assassin is overall very good. Her human head looks perfect with excellent shading in her hair, which helps bring out the detail and accentuates the sharp lines. And her faceplates have a nice blush effect that helps give her skin a soft look. Her robot head does not have shading, but that's okay, since it's supposed to have a shiny, sleek look to it. I love these little details found in these crevices, and the little black lines look perfect. The gold on the back of the neck is a nice touch too. The bodysuit similarly is not shaded, but I'm okay with that, as the sculpt work is strong enough to not need it, though I still think it would look cool if it did have it. The separation between light and dark gray looks nice and clean, and I love all the little details they've painted, like these white lines at the biceps, the green at the neck, and the gold bits here and there. It's these details that help elevate this from a simple bodysuit to something much, much cooler. Assassin stands at around 6.5 inches tall. She's pretty much half an inch taller than Milk Tea, but Assassin is wearing high heels to give her extra height. If you align their ankle joints, you can see that they are very close in height. Here she is next to Tapigal Milk Tea, which in trading Nana Hoshikawa, SH Figure Arts Your Forger, Pocket Art Series Amelia, Seance Era Cerberus, Figma Sophia F. Schuring, Mayfex Spider-Gwen, Marvel Legends Spider-Gwen, Sosai Shoujo Teian Madoka, and Storm Collectibles Blue Mary. Scale-wise, she fits in nicely with a lot of figures, so she won't look ridiculously tall or short next to them. Wrist pegs are the same size as Tapigal Milk Tea's, so you could swap hands with that figure. Interestingly, faceplates are swappable, though Assassin's ears are slightly bigger, so her faceplate won't fit as easily on Milk Tea's head. Hair is not swappable, since the attachment at the back of the head is different. You can't do a head swap without some minor modification to the ball joint at the neck, as Milk Tea's ball joint is ever so slightly smaller. You can kind of snap on Assassin's head, but it will be very loose. Conversely, you'd need to shave down Assassin's neck joint to get Milk Tea's head on, but I have to admit, she'd make a great assassin as well. I thought Snail Shell would have standardized the peg at the thigh cut so you can swap legs, but no, the pegs are different sizes. Snail Shell also released a new zip-up hoodie in purple and blue and a tactical hooded cape in black around the same time as Assassin, and these look amazing on her and fit her color scheme very well. Unfortunately, they did not put a wire in the hoodie this time around, so it's a little harder to get it to look the way you want, especially if you want to have the hood up over her head. Thankfully, the hooded cape has plenty of wires in it to sculpt it however you wish. It's amazingly large and roomy, so it could fit around a multitude of figures. Even with the shortcoming of the hoodie not having a wire, I recommend getting your hands on one if you can. It's got a great color to it, and it complements this and other figures very nicely. So there you have it. Assassin is another excellent action figure from Snail Shell Studio. It's got amazing sculpting, just a perfect head sculpt in my opinion. The sculptors really know how to translate anime faces into 3D. I love the sharpness of the hair, I love the shape of her body and all the little details in her plug suit, and her articulation is just phenomenal, largely due to her innovative hip joints, which allow for an insane range of motion that rivals that of a seamless body. I've never seen this kind of range of motion without some huge cuts into the hip sculpt, but here Snail Shell has managed to get that huge range of motion without compromising the sculpt, and I love it and I want it in all future figures. Truly innovative stuff here. Excellent paint, great looking accessories, awesome alternate pieces. The robot head really impressed me with that neck articulation. Seriously, this is just a great looking action figure that can pose extremely well. There's really not many reasons not to own this figure. Go get it if it looks even remotely interesting to you. You won't regret it. So that wraps up another review. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know if you got this figure and what you think of it. I'm going to try and ramp up my video production. There's a lot of good stuff coming in, so please stay tuned. Click on that bell to get notified when I release a new video. And thank you so much for watching this far, and I'll see you in the next review. Jam out.